Welcome back, everybody, from that break. For those of you who were with us in part 1 of our talk show, yes, this is a very special, we will call it, well, it's not a podcast, this is actually an internet recording, and that's a talk show presenting a special edition from I POW, the International Internet Portfolio of Writers. So we have a very important conference that's coming up. It's in August, and it's actually taking place in the state of Utah in the United States of America. Yes, at a university that's known as Brigham Young University, BYU. So these guys have brought together writers, editors, publishers, and stakeholders across the industry, publishing and writing and editing, and we are coming together under one roof, yes, on the 7th and 8th of August, and we're going to have a very long, okay, not really very long, but yes, substantial list of presentations from, researchers in the field. So we happen to be one of the entities that's going to be represented, yes, in this conference, yes. And when I say entity, well, because I POW is an international community that's hosted on the internet and Telegram, and as we saw in the introductions, of course, some of the members are going to participate or are participating virtually or in a simulated way through the paper that was prepared by our editor-in-chief, yes, JWL. Sometimes we like to call him future professor Joseph Ulrich Lutalo.
Abayizire nimuro batanaitwe abasigazi abazeyi n'abakayikuru inywe na kale abojo n'abayisiki ati tuli kunu mwiguru abokuba mukoro kunu ukurato okutekunga place oko mwanya the International Space Station baitu kale tuli mu spacecraft ati tuikalira okwo aliyo basajja abahandikira ebitabo by'emiringo nyingi, harimu ba professor, harimu abahandiki, harimu abakebezi, harimu n'abasemeza, ba editor abasemeza ebihandikirwe, yes, nokubiterekereza, ate then harimu n'abaheesa publishers baheesa ebitabo ebyo basobora kubitwikiyaho, nosobora kirora nokikwata nokusukura nomara nokugarura hali hameza ati publishers ati conference egyo tutandikira geno mulingo gw'okwanjura bo abagenda kuba nibatwetekerezo nokubaza nokutugambira biki barabiro kuba research abamu mulingo gw'okutoza ati ugenzere mu kibiro okutoza mulingo gw'enyama zokulya kw'ebisoro bingi baitu buli kisoro tosobora kirya ate okutoza ate then bagarukire balesera enyama ate okusobola nti yaitu yente enugulika bamusu nebindi bityo kandi butwalire enkende tukatunga obuzibu buti ate genyo research dissemination bagenda kwani batusobola ate kichuka kino kya kabiri kandi genda kiri kubanza mwikalire muhulize kurungi kwa genda kuba rujungu ati nyowe ito manyoro jokwandulenga okale kubasobora bundi baitu tugenda kubanza tuleke babaze mu rujungu abokuba points za mane za philosophy wena kuzitunga zirabire mu rulimi ruli rubahandikisizo rujungu ati then maybe after tujokuba ntubasobora bundi kale no kutakuba mu talk shows okusakutunga munywani wawe yasomere nabanza na kusobora nti Bacon professor go abena manisa kinu lakini oba defo obonu chwa mukama yakwena tusobora mu rulimi rwaitu baitu ubundi ate international audience aina kuba nabaza formal language atoro abachwezi runo rwabanyoro kati rwabanywani rugenda kujya hanyuma. So sit back, relax, mube naitwe ukuba this is going to be the second part and maybe other parts after that.
So in this second part, for those who attended the first part, of course, both or all the talk shows that are part of this arrangement are hosted on Telegram on IPO. So we already shared the address is t.me/IPO writers. Yeah, so just go there and you'll find all the recordings, all the talk shows, the links to the books, the artworks, the behind the scenes, yes, even the reactions and feedback from the community, yes, can be found in the comment section in the forums. So this second part kicks off from where the first part stopped. If you're following along, reading the paper, you will see that the first part stopped after the introduction, so we are going to go straight into the next subtopic and in this paper, which is concerning IPO, the origins, philosophy, and motivations. So sit back, kick your shoes off, relax, open your ears and your mind. And yes, as we are in outer space, sailing to a great future, please be with us. Cheers from I POW Media to all of you listening. Please don't forget to subscribe and bring your friends along to join us in the I POW community and family.
Yes, mukulikeyo mwenna abava mu commercial break naddala mwe ababadde naffe mu part 1 kati tugenda mu kitundu ekyokubiri, yes, ekya talk show yaffe eno, era nga akaboozi kano kakwata ku kibinja ekyabawandiisi abatapita ebitabo abeetolodde ensi abagenda okuŋŋaanira wali, yes, mu nsi ya America, ekitundu bakiyita Provo University ya Brigham Young University, era nga bagenda kubanga beetegereza okunoonyereza, okuvumbula ebiwandiikiddwa, ebiruubirirwa n'ebiralalala ebikwata ku bawandiisi, abategesi b'obutabo, ababulongoosa, ababutunda, yes, abakuumye industry eyo okwetooloola ensi yonna. Era nga naffe gye tuli muwandiisi waffe omukenkufu, yes, Jewel Rich, era nga yatukulembeddemu wano okuva ku IPO, International Internet Portfolio Writers. So yes, abadde mu kitundu ekisooka kwabadde kwanjula, era nga aboogezi bonna kati mubamanyi bulungi, yes, muli ba professor nga Bacon, muli Professor Defoe, mulimu Agent Smith, mulimu mu Pakistan Sami Ullah, newabaayo omuyindi Rina Dahe, newabaayo avudde Lesotho mwita Kalinda Kali. Kwegamba tula butuuzi owulirize, kati tugenda mu kitundu ekyokubiri, era nga obanga olina olupapula olwo wetegereza, kuba kati tugenda kuyingira mu philosophy, yes, akwata ku ekitundu ekino ekya IPO, yes, kyebatwala ni ki ebyaviirako, yes, omukenkufu oyo okutandikawo ekibiina ekyo wali ku mitimbagano gya internet mu mwaka gwa 2024. So tula okanje, yes, nyirwe akaboozi. So, turning our full attention to you, Mr. Will Bridge. respectable brains behind I POW, the international internet portfolio of writers. And you mind clarifying and to us what else there is that we need to know concerning this entity? That is, assuming there is something else that's important to know, which hasn't yet been covered well during the introductions. Sikinati, Professor Bacon. Yes, first of all, as must already be clear to everyone by now, I POW stands for the International Internet Portfolio of Writers. The star after the I in I POW helps to stress the fact that it is a community that not only appeals to, but also draws from the STEM disciplines to the arts. So just as you witnessed during the introductions, most of our founding members are actually from backgrounds in the sciences instead of only humanities and the arts. Further, the star, just like in several mathematical formalisms, one good example being the formal language of regular expressions, also which I strongly leverage in another important international project I likewise founded, the T, Transforming Executable Alphabet Programming Language. It implies that even where we have neither internet nor members from foreign countries, and yet the POW, the POW, still takes care of there always being a guaranteed important portfolio of writers. It is an internet-based community that I founded in early 2024 with the core purpose of bringing together aspiring professional writers, mostly still unpublished writers interested in serious creative writing. These I sourced via personal and public interactions from across various internet communities, ICs, that I happen to be a member of. For example, I would identify someone such as Ula, often posting catchy poetry or interesting free verse or WhatsApp. And then many times I would comment on, I would sometimes volunteer feedback concerning their shared works. And in case sufficient rapport manifested, I would then engage with that writer, I would engage with them and via more private chat concerning, whether or not they might be interested in joining or contributing to I POW. I would explain that it isn't a commercial venture and that participation was entirely voluntary. I would make clear what the potential benefits are, such as, free professional editing services, free mentorship for those interested in attempting commercial quality writing, free promotion via richer media formats and packaging, etc. Of course, the ultimate aim would be to ensure we grow a sufficient pool of interesting works from across the community and from around the globe, with an understanding that eventually I POW will draw in potential investors, better or more writers, interested commercial publishers or raw talent seekers, might as well join us. So, the key motivation then was to help unpublished writers get into commercial writing and publishing?
Exactly, but definitely not immediately. You see, personally, I had some background in a portfolio-driven career as a fresh undergraduate straight out of high school. My first university degree was in architecture. I spent about a year or so in that program, and I faced the rigors building solid practice as a professional architect. Building and leveraging a solid portfolio of varied high-quality works was paramount among the lessons we were taught at Makerere University, the Bachelor of Science in Architecture, But well, I didn't quite persist there. I later quit architecture for computing and mathematics. But the ethos, the discipline, instilled in me during those mandatory core
portfolio 101 classes did help. And later inspired my desire to train, creative writers to want to likewise build and leverage solid portfolios of written works. Thus, our participation, whether as a one-off or as a longer-term commitment, would without doubt be able to offer a participating writer some return on investments. In case they presented good work, or that it was properly packaged and curated for the public. It essentially would be akin to being a still undiscovered painter or sculptor. And so that by having your finest works permanently exhibited in a prestigious and rigorous gallery such as I POW, your work would, without doubt, eventually get the right attention. Someone would have to eventually discover you. On that, we especially set out to create a platform. To bring together unpublished writers is important. Why? My own earlier experiences, trying to get a career in professional writing off the ground, mostly proved to be plagued by lots of hurdles. I had to deal with lots of uncertainties and incompetency. That especially young would-be writers need the supportive company of each other, but also the oversight and guidance or active support of someone more senior quickly became clear to me. That was during my first attempt at getting a full-length novel traditionally published. Precisely between 2018 and 2021, I was working on Shrines of the Free Men. And so in 2024, we're planning my second novel, Rock and Roll. The idea of having an IC, an internet community, that's supportive and conducive to writers like me, occurred to me. And thus, I POW was born. Marvelous! Bravo! Bravo! Thanks, Agent Smith. Thanks so much.
No, not at all. Plus, I too felt that Professor Wilbrich's presentation had become so overwhelming.
All right, dear friends, I trust it is right and well to first take a break. And so we then return in a while to continue with our next discussion concerning I POW, writers, editing, and publishing. Sure. Thanks for that. Welcome everybody that's been with us already throughout the talk shows. So for those of you that were with us in the introductions, that was part 1, and then part 2 about the philosophy, and now we're going to part 3, which is about the activities and culture of the international internet portfolio of writers. So it is a continuation of the discussion and dialogue that was started in the previous parts. And so we're now just going to shift the focus towards what is currently happening in the international internet portfolio of writers community, as well as what is likely to manifest in the near and far future. So sit back, relax, and listen as the panelists and the moderators take us through the next series of discussion and exchanges. Enjoy.
Yes.
abayise mu kabozaako okuteesa yes n'okulambika ebirowoozo yes nga tuli ku lukuŋŋaana luli semakuŋŋaano bayita conference eya RIP 2026 so mu kitundu ekyo kyetukubye amabega era nga kibadde kikwata ku birowoozo n'ebiki ebigendererwa bayita philosophy ne motivation ezaaviirako omukenkufu oyo J. Wilrich okutandikawo ekibiina ekyo wali ku internet so tulabye nti yatandika nga yalako byavumbula mu tekinologi kuba muntu wa tekinologi ennyo era nga mu bimanyikiddwa yavumbula olulimi olwogerwa ebyuma bino bikalimagezi olumanyiddwa nga T transforming executable alphabet era nga mu biseera ebyo era byebimu ng'ali mu kutegeka okumaliriza degree ye ey'okubiri oba gye bayita masters wali kasozi e Makerere yatandika okuvumbula olulimi olwo era mu biseera byebimu weyatandikira ne I POW ekibiina ekyo nga ekigendera kyali kyakukuŋŋaanya abawandiisi era nga yaliko omu ku abaana abayita mu kubangulwa mu kusoma okuyitibwa okwa architecture okw'okuzimba ebizimbe oluusi n'okukuba pulaani zaabyo so nga baayigayo bingi nga kwotadde gye bayita portfolio so ekirowoozo ekyo kya portfolio kyebika gye kyasibuka era nga amaze okutunnyonnyola nti bwe yava mu architecture nadda mu bya ebyuma bikalimagezi ebyo n'okubala portfolio yamusigalamu era oluvannyuma kwe kwagala okuŋŋaanya abawandiisi b'ebitabo n'okubayigiriza engeri ya portfolio nti osobola okukola emirimu gyo oluusi ng'olina w'osinziira ng'olina engeri yo okugamba mukuŋŋaanya ebiwandiikiddwa oba emirimu gye mwakolako emabega ne muba n'engeri y'omwoleso ogubaawo nga gwa lubeerera nga si gwa kaseera buseera kati nga yenna anoonya abawandiisi abakenkufu oba abayinza okweyambisibwa mu mirimu egimu oba emirala agenda wali n'alaba nti nze njagala Rina oba njagala Wilrich oba njagala Samiula bwe kityo so ye IPO era nga atunyonyodde nti newankubadde abawandiisi bakyali batini era nga babadde tebasasulwa wadde nti bateekamu amaanyi n'amagezi mangi naye nga baluubirira nti mu maaso eyo bajja kukungula era nga alima oluusi omala okuteeka ensigo zo mu ttaka tosuubira nti emmere ogenda girirawo olunaku olw'ennyini naye mu maaso eyo era omala n'okungula so return on investment nayo bagisuubira era nga tuwuliddemu kale ne ku maziga awo mpolampola abawandiisi balina oluusi nabo nga bali mu kunyolwa okulaba nti omukenkufu oyo tamanyikiddwa bulungi naye ate ng'emirimu gy'akoze gya nkizo nnyo ate oluusi nga n'okuba nti nga bw'olabye mu title nga tutandika bagiyita margins working on the margins tebakolera nnyo emabbali eyo ng'oluusi gavumenti n'ebitongole ebisinga byali badde bibasembeza okumpi oluusi ate tebibawaakaaganya so nza kwe kunyolwa okwo okuliwo era kati tugenda mu kitundu kino ekirala tugenda kuba tutunuulira mu paati eno eddaako ya 3 biki ebigenda mu maaso mu kibiina kya IPO biki ebigenda mu maaso na biki bye baluubirira mu maaso eyo gitulaga so tuula okkalire yes okuteesa kuli mu luzungu naye tujagezaako kale okubasumiraku ono ne wali namwe muleme kusigala mu nzikiza
oh yeah
mwebali nywena basobodde kuba tenaitwe kuruga mu kichweka kire kibandisege nibanjura oha bagenda kuba mu lukureto olwo kandi kichweka kya kabiri kitulabiramu nibatusobora amagezi itekerezo kale nomulingo gwensitiza bwiroho ogwo rubanza byona tandikire kichweka tandikire kale kitebe ekyo ekya IPO hati presidenti oba tukulire nti mu busumbi bwenyumaho aliyo natolereza amagezi ga sayansi za tekinologiya ezo za filosofi kaliha akasozi ka Makerere
akabaho olulimi luyatandikire kwesa olukwetebwa ati olulimi olundi lweyambisibwa kale abantu kubaza nebyoma bikalimagezi ati nkomulingo tuli mu mwanya okwo motoka zikuraba mu bicu ati omulingo kuziragira ubundi nisobora nokwerubasa zonka zitarumugonze omunyoro wena agikaliremu hati amagezi ago ga tekinologiya za software mu busumi obwo aliyo n'agaterekereza niko nokutandika ekitebe ekyo kya IPOW nobu nayenda kuleta abaana ba sciences na arts ezokuhandika ate bitekereza ebyo bundi abakusinga banyoro mutera kubata nabyo mu mitwe gyanyu obundi nokubaza kale miliyoni muwote byoto oba ni mulya muchwankuna omwani baitu mutakwenda kubiteeka hampapura ati abantu ba IPOW ebitekerezo ne mulingo gwa magezi ago baliyo bakugategeka kurungi hati twena tusobole kuba ntugaikawo tusolagera nosoma no hanurayo ekitabu nomanya kino ekitabu kikahandikibwa oli kali wogo bajukuru ba Shakazulu Lesotho nabo bali mu conference egyo ati nomanya nti akahandika ati nati so atusoboire nti akabayo busumi bwenyuma okwo nibega professor na wangu ogwo wa Makerere tekereza vice chancellor atakarugiroho ajja kuba nawe natwereza ebitekerezo bye abokuba atusoboire nti bakaba nibega za architecture obundi nibatere ebisisani nokubumba mulingo gw'ebisoro by'emiringo oba obundi kwombeka amaju obujjo butito busisira nibabutimba mulingo guza portfolio kwegeraho hati nokuhandika kuno kwenda kuisana na mulingo ogwo ati ngo abana bakuhandika obutabu bakuhandika ebitekerezo byabo bakuhandika amagezi ago nibagateka kurungi batira amabara gabo nensi nambere bakuruga babiteeka hali IPOW ati wo kuruga munsi yona nogenda ni wetegereza obundi bwo kubaho wosimbe wena nosobora kuraki kumwikawo ati maiso kujja kuba ntugenda kwetegereza biki bigenda maiso mukichoka kene kigarukaho nibatusobora biki ebigenda maiso mukasumikano na biki bigenda kwija mu maiso kutusobora kwetegereza obundi kali no kwetegekera abandi mwenda muno kulya ebyokulya bundi bitakahire baitu mugumikirize bamale kutusobora then tujja kugaruka tubakoleke tubayihure ukatijo kitu
Here with us for the next series of clarifying these cases. Talking of which, I trust it as 2026 is first of all concerning editing, and that we have here with us our chief editor, yes of I POW, Joseph Wilbert Lutalo. It should be well and right to get some ideas from him concerning the editing and publishing business of their project.
Yes, Professor Bacon, where is it that you'd like me to start?
Perhaps there won't be much. However, briefly, what would you say are your major responsibilities as the editor, or rather editor-in-chief at the international internet portfolio of writers?
Great. So, for starters, we have a community of especially amateur writers.
some of whose works would or may not relegate into any serious mainstream publication, unless it were, say, Amazon's self-publication service. Moreover, it usually is not just about getting the written work out there, but also about how.
True that. Especially the how is quite important.
Yep, thanks, the brains Barry. So, among the core roles I must play as their editor is to ensure that, first, only works worth publishing are included on the portfolio.
Sorry, Editor Jojo. And how do you go about that?
Yeah, trust me. I, as editor-in-chief, must of course dictate. However, it's a mixture of experience, taste, first impressions, as well as knowledge of what would suit both our audience and the stature of our portfolio. Secondly, note that whichever work we decide to publish has to undergo serious scrutiny and review, just to ensure that it meets the standards of our publishing service. At minimum, and as editor, I must ensure that we have polished the writing itself. There must be no glaring grammatical errors, if any, no styling horrors, and importantly, that the author of the work is clearly credited for their piece. Thus, I help in cross-checking each publication's metadata, but also ensure to at least, engage one or more members of the community to ensure the work we publish has been okayed by at least, one other reviewer.
Thanks, indeed. Please allow me to also inquire concerning these reviewers. Are they other members of I POW, such as some of the writers and the formation, or do you have access to some external or independent reviewers?
The ideal would surely be having the likes of Professor Defoe or English majors such as Smith help with the independent or second level reviews. However, the project is generally still in its infancy, with little external support, but also the active membership is still small, and so it happens that the bulk of the editing and review burden is on either me or the other members of I POW.
Good enough. Please go on.
But of course, and likely so, even after we publish and dispatch a work, there might be extra feedback we obtain from early reviewers and readers that are not necessarily part of the I POW community or circle, and that such feedback would or might help either influence subsequent revisions of an already published work, or that it helps the author of the work obtain some constructive feedback concerning how to do better or how nice the work was, etc. Additionally, I do participate actively in pre-publication packaging and branding of the usually plain and raw submissions.
Is I POW likewise engaged in any physical dissemination or packaging of members' written works?
Nope, at least not at the moment, or rather not generally so. Once in a while, we might do a compilation or a proof of concept of a book-length work, such as this. However, it's expensive to attempt or to sustain without any sponsorship or facilitation, given we are mostly volunteering on behalf of the members. In the future, perhaps, and indeed, in case we had the muscle or support or that demand was significant, we might. Simply because we have physical outlets we could leverage so as to commercialize or help expose written works. Menuza Bytes, a subsidiary of New Tracy, is one of those that would be great for such. But no, At the moment, unless it were on special order, we only limit publications to purely digital packaging and dissemination. And then realize how at I POW, we especially ensure that each work has the right associated cover art. Often such is sourced or developed using free access image generators, such as Microsoft's Bing Creator. It is a very reliable method and one that I personally use and trust for my own works. Also, we generally accept submissions in either plain text or as Microsoft Word documents, given that most of our young writers, they have no experience typesetting in anything more sophisticated yet. However, the final typesetting is often done by myself, the editor, using latex. Yeah.
Wow, that's surely a whole pool of work.
It surely is. But it's important that we not compromise on quality. That's why, even though our portfolio generally remains small, only featuring, few authors and works, and yet we are generally happy and proud of it. Yeah, we are. Finally, once the final manuscript is ready, as a print-ready PDF or EPUB, we dispatch it to the world, first and foremost via a well-documented slot on the official I POW channel hosted on Telegram. And by choice, t.me/IPOWriters. t.me/IPOWriters. What you see exactly there, yes, that's what it is. So as EIC, the editor-in-chief, I also help with the initial distribution of the material from our I POW channel to several other neighboring ICs, such as, Uganda's core internet community, UIC, also which is on Telegram, and then to several more international outlets thereafter. 266 TV on Telegram, there is R1 Internet on Reddit, BBIC, Bugabo Bukaya Internet Community, that's on WhatsApp, plus several other local and global internet communities on WhatsApp, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and more. Sometimes we even directly post a work to some mailing lists or directly to some individuals, in case it might appeal, to special audiences we know of. In rare cases, we might also help submit fine work to a reputable journal, or a preprint server. And last but not least, note that as part of the oversight work I do as the EIC at I POW, I do help ensure the works we have recently published do get follow-up in form of, supporting audio and or video publicity. This might be talk shows specifically created, to share the highlights of such published work. And which talk shows often feature the voices and commentary of both the author of the published work, but also those of some of the close early reviewers and I POW fans. Sometimes, such as we have done with some I POW works by Shaw or myself, we also follow up the publication and the official release of the literature with a suitable original custom theme-related music. Many times in the past, I actually performed and recorded such publicity works myself. It is intense, varied, highly creative work, but also very, encouraging, greatly rewarding, and so necessary. That extra input does help give our publications a very unique and distinct existence, both in the immediate and future collective unconscious, but also the overall global literary atmosphere.
But I fear to say, seems like you and your team based in Uganda have pulled off an exquisite editing and publishing model but also a corresponding culture and practice that in many ways rival and arguably surpasses the quality and rigors of even Hollywood targeting traditional publishers. I do believe, especially now that the world knows about you and your work, but also what will become possible, that indeed I POW is the state of the art in off-grid creative publishing.
We wish to follow the footsteps of the likes of Professor Defoe, given his success at both writing and publishing. Even for lowly folks such as ourselves, with almost no meaningful visibility and no access to author support services, such as literary agencies. Ooh, I POW is a miracle.
Weberich, Kali, Shaw, and Ula, trust me, be proud of yourselves. Even a single work well written, edited, packaged, and published on a seemingly humble outlet such as I POW Telegram channel could be all that you need to eventually get onto the Pulitzer Wall of Fame.
Thanks for that encouragement, sir. I trust they get the message as clear as daylight.
Before we close this topic, I should briefly inquire.
Yes, please. Unfortunately, much as the paper itself that was written to be presented at this conference is longer than 3 parts, because right now we've gone through part 2 and part 3 as well. Earlier on we had part 1 and part 2. So there's still part 4 and then part 5, which concludes the paper. But unfortunately, and in the interests of saving time, we shall not cover the final 2 parts, but instead encourage everyone who's been listening to this talk show to please go online. The link is there on I POW that has the paper, which is t.me/IPOWwriters/400. And when you get that paper, you can read everything that was actually meant to be presented. But also, for those who are interested in listening to the entire talk shows and whatever follows hereafter, you can of course go to I POW and check it out. Also on the YouTube channel of the I POW Editor-in-Chief, which is youtube.com/@1JWL. So go there and follow up. Otherwise, it's been such a wonderful experience, but we have to end it here, and hopefully we meet again some other time in the future. Thanks for being with us and for loving I POW and for loving writing and literature and publishing and editing. And cheers to all of our friends at Brigham Young University for this wonderful opportunity and the occasion of hosting us even remotely or virtually. Yeah, so wetutyo tumaliriza presentation yaffe talk show, naye nga nsuubira nti abatafunye ebiri mu bitundu ebirala ebyeyongera waliyo ekitundu ekyokuna n'ekyokutaano, ate nga byo biri mu lupapula olwawandiikibwa, mugende mutuke mu lupapula olwo mubyerolereko mwekka gamba namwe musobole okubanga munyikira biki ebiteeseddwako. So otherwise talk show yaffe bwetyo bwebadde, era mwebale nnyo mwenna abazze nga mukumba naffe, abali mu kirasha nammwe abali ku mwanjaawo, mwebale nnyo tuweereza ebirowoozo byammwe. Abamu bagambye nti talk show kawooma singa batuwadde olunaku lulamba, naye nga tekisoboka. So mufunye ebisigadde mu bisange mu byawandiikibwa. Bye bye, see you. Ate tutumirako nammwe naddala aba IC eya BBIC awo, ne GIC ate agundegunde Ssaabasajja. Bye bye.
Inyo abanyoro abatakengere kale mulingo omukolo ogwo gukolire ati ebisigaire bihandikirwa mukwabyo biri mu ndimi zindi mukusobola kunteera essimu yange obundi nekalina okunsanga nambere mikaroko mu nsozi zaitu hali mu Butwezi First Try Road muje tubasobole obundi kalina okuyamba abatayini kyererezi tandika kwetegereza miringo kale tukurubata nikiasa kine kiyaka mukuba abandi ikyali kizima baitu mukwetaaga kutunga ekyererezi kale obundi okubasuukura ebitabo ebyo bibasobora mu lulimi olukworoba. So mwebale kuba naitwe ate naitwe tweyongeramu kuba balemanze okuleeta ensanda ati kati tusobola kusigala hano kandi kwekatandikira okwokya ennyama kyakuba ntitwitirana kiro kimu maisa aho oba bundi pasike kwija mulale kurungi nywena abamasimba hoima twitirane mukolo egyo gwagesere conference mutekeze kwija maisa aho nanye eri okuhoima yakuba nitubaleetera ipoza za iPejo ebindi bikuruga kuno mu Nichols Media Lab iPo mu bitebe byaitu.
Such a big blast. Please guys, meet you at the Nobel Prize Literature sometime in the future. And cheers to all IPO members. Yes, it's been such a wonderful experience and we look forward to more amazing things to come and follow hereafter. Bye-bye. Cheers from the IPO Media team and the internet community chiefs.